They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
What's up?
Oh, no.
Here we are indeed on the virtual, the information superhighway. You remember that? Remember that phrase?
Yeah, I do. That was like when the internet first came out and they were having to hard sell it.
Yeah, it's a very, I feel like it's a very, very 90s phrase.
Yeah.
The information superhighways. No wonder that one didn't stick. That, you know, and we still got www dot, but you know, that's the World Wide Web. They were very like grandiose terms for the internet, which I mean, dude, you know, the internet was a hell of a fucking thing. So it
concept,
you know,
right.
Web was
justified. I'd say it justified that grandiosity.
I agree, but web was a better metaphor than superhighway because it's so sprawling and information. That is not what a lot of people are getting.
No, but like
I guess fake information is still information, I guess, though.
It is funny to think about what the internet has become versus like, when it was first pitched, it was like all the facts are at your fingertips and you no longer have you can just, it's like an encyclopedia that just has everything. And then
now lizard reptilians are stealing our children and taking our facts away.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how quick, I don't know when the first titty hit the internet versus...
Oh, like day 3.
Probably, right? Yeah. like at least. But yeah, man, it's...
It wasn't the titties that did it.
No, it's the thing you said.
Well, it's also wild. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw this. We might have talked about it on here. I think we did. They made a bot to do Twitter and it became anti-Semitic in 8 hours.
Yeah, that was so fun. I mean, obviously it's real fucked up, but it's also hilarious. I don't care.
Oh, it's absurd. Yeah.
It's a Twitter robot that learns based on Twitter's own tendencies or whatever. And within 24 hours, it had become a Nazi and started hating Jews. And it's like, the internet, it sure is something else. I don't know how that worked exactly. I don't know if I figured
I'm looking it up right
maybe
now.
Like a 4chan situation where that bot got brigaded by trolls who thought that would be funny and understood how the algorithm worked and or something. Because I mean, you'd have to make a bot and put it on to Nazi Twitter. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of different versions of Twitter. You craft your own Twitter. You know
but the algorithm, but that's part of what the bot did was make its own algorithm by responding to other people's algorithm because it was meant to mimic us. You are correct. My timeline is cultivated based on my interests, but its interests cultivated its timeline.
Yeah, so apparently it was kind of a little bit what you said about the 4chan people kind of spamming it and informing its thing, but the first one was after Twitter user Codeine Crazy, which is a hilarious name, tweeted Jews did 9/11 to the account, the Twitter bot responded, okay, ... Jews did 9/11. Which is it's just so fun, how quick the bot seemed to just give up. All right, okay, fine. Jews did whatever. Jews did 9/11.
Been on the internet for 4 hours. I give up.
So I've been trying to find the full quote because what made me even think about this was information superhighway. I know for a fact that Jim Carrey uses that term in The Cable Guy, which is I've
heard a Gumble say it too.
Which that movie, this has been pointed out a million times by now, but and it hit for me even then. But The Cable Guy came out at the height of Jim Carrey's powers when he was the zaniest, most box office gold motherfucker on planet Earth. He was, the man of 1,000 faces and all this stuff. And then The Cable Guy was this fucking weird, dark. I was saying The Cable Guy came out at the height of Jim Carrey's powers in the mid 90s when he was the zany box office gold man, right?
Oh yeah.
But Cable Guy was really weird and dark and different, and it largely didn't hit for people because it wasn't what they were expecting and wasn't marketed right or whatever. But that movie really holds up and
for sure,
is, a cult classic now. So on that note, we said information superhighway earlier. That made it pop into my head. I know Jim Carrey says that in that movie. So I started Googling. And I thought that him saying that was part of this quote, but I can't find that. Maybe it isn't, or maybe this is just a chunk of the quote. But remember, towards the end, he goes on this big like monologue about the possibilities of technology or whatever. But this is in 1996 when fucking Yahoo was barely shit yet. You know what I mean? All that stuff.
Everybody did not have the internet.
Not even close. Most people didn't understand it. Well, anyway, I found that quote, not even remembering it really, but I'm going to read it to you now. It gets up there. It says, "The future is now. Soon every American home will integrate their television, phone, and computer. You'll be able to visit the Louvre on one channel and watch female mud wrestling on another. You can do your shopping at home or play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. There's no end to the possibilities." So at that time, you couldn't do like none of that shit at all. And now it's like literally every single one of those things came to pass. Like I didn't remember that being that spot on, until I just now looked it up and read it again. So
because at the time that sounded like gibberish, like literal frontier gibberish. Like he may as well have been speaking in fucking tongues. And that's crazy because that when they were writing it, they weren't sitting there going, okay, let's actually sit here and try to flesh out what we predict. They were just saying crazy shit. They were just like, what would hit for you? Okay, boom, say that. Yeah, that would hit. That'd be wild. But now, not even, dude, that was 96, that movie? Yeah, within 10 years, you could do all that shit. That's fucking bananas.
I disagree with both your assessments. I'm sorry. I think that when they said that in 96, like, a lot of people were like, yeah. Like, I think in the cyberpunk and sci-fi world, the artists have been predicting that since the 80s. And then as far as them sitting and writing it out, I also think I want to give the writers credit. I don't think they were saying crazy shit. I think that we had enough chat rooms at that point. AOL had been around just long enough that people were like, damn, people really do want to watch women mud wrestle more than anything else.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. And to be fair, they had also made similar predictions like this on The Simpsons years before. But either way, I'm just saying, looking at that now, it's one thing, but I can just imagine in 96 hearing all that, it was just boogity, 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 like what the fuck are you talking?
The reference point being Mortal Kombat, I played the shit out of Mortal Kombat when I was a kid, and it was wild at the time, but think about what Mortal Kombat was when it first came out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the idea of playing that with somebody on the other side of the world would have definitely been wild as hell. You're like, I can only, I play it I whip my sister's ass at it because she's got the other controller. How can I have that controller be in Vietnam? But I was just like, we literally brought up the term information superhighway. It made me think of that. I typed it in expecting this to be very dated because I feel like that's a very dated term. And when I read it, I was like, oh shit, that's not dated at all. That's like prophetic, in fact. And that's all I was trying to say.
Well, I wasn't trying to say that me watching it wasn't blown away by that or at that time, or like I was just saying that the authors probably had, I think they put thought into that because when you look at Cyberpunk, they put a lot of thought into it and predicted a lot. I mean, the short story that they allegedly stole the Matrix from was written in the early 90s too. You know what I mean? And then the Cyberpunk movement started in the 70s and they were predicting the internet. But yeah, I was certainly as a kid not like, yeah, I'll definitely be playing Mortal Kombat with somebody across the globe. That sounded very much in the 40 years from now future, not before I stopped playing video games.
And I mean, that's been around for a while at this point. I'm just pointing out that, we're coming up on 30 years for that, before too long.
For that movie? Jesus.
I mean, we're at 96, so we're 4 years away.
Is the internet making that stuff wilder? Or is it just every generation can't believe this? Do you know what I'm saying?
Probably
the internet's changing time, ain't it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it might be a little bit of both. It might be a little bit of both, but I feel like it's probably just human nature to think like, holy shit, that, that ought not be like, to me, the year 2000, it's like, oh yeah, that's about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
About 10 years ago, something like
1990,
that.
10 years ago also.
But
how do we like define eras? Usually by movements, artists, films, that kind of thing.
Music,
I think the internet's making that those windows are getting shorter, so it makes time seem different.
Yeah, I think so too. Just because like now we have like used to what music was what music they was playing on the radio and shit. Like that's what you had. But now we have access to everything. So there's even more nostalgia shit going on. So like all the generations seem like they're just kind of getting more blended, which I think is cool. Like I think it's fucking awesome that like, you know, the young kids now are listening to the music that I was listening to as a kid. We did that a little bit, but we literally had to go on the oldie station, you know, that our parents were listening to. But now like TikTok and all this shit, like everything kind of, I don't know, man, like and the whole millennial shit, like how nobody really fucking knows what a millennial is. And so many people are so like wrong on that. Like they look at like a 12-year-old and they're like, oh, these millennials. And it's like, no, what are you talking about? That's completely
we old now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like millennials
how
are
old's
40.
Your oldest?
Yeah, but I mean,
you're right,
old.
but you almost have a 12-year-old.
Right, yeah, exactly. I'm a millennial with a fucking 10-year-old and a foot that just stopped hitting out of nowhere the other day. You know what I mean? The other day, literally, my foot just said, you know what? I don't hit no more. Deal with it. And, you know, that's not some fucking young whippersnapper shit right there, okay? Like, we are.
I had an idea for the name
of
the comedy special that I think by the time I can use it, it'll be too late. I won't want to use it. But I think Millennial Dad would be a great title for a comedy special.
Yeah,
for sure. Good joke, probably.
I was about to say it would definitely help solve this problem I'm talking about here, whereas like millennial is just the catch-all for young person that's tweeting on their phone.
Don't own houses. That's been my theory on it for a while. Is like our general lack of owning houses has both changed our perception to other adults who own houses and fucked us up. The reason we still are on the internet fighting over fashion and Tupac is because we don't have the same bills that our parents had or responsibilities or freedom. Like we need to feel something.
I mean, I do think that people are starting to also talk shit about Gen Z.
For sure.
Yeah,
they are.
When they talk about the kids and stuff. I see Gen Z get
thank God.
a lot. Yeah. And sort of like kids these days fashion that we're talking about. So
you say that, Drew, and I agree with you, but do you know what is happening because of that too? Now we are getting made fun of the way that we made fun of fucking like Mark's generation.
Sure.
Millennials are their boomers right now, and it really don't hit. So maybe
I'm fine with it too.
It's whatever. I try to find that balance of like not giving a fuck, but also like, okay, don't give so less of a fuck that you genuinely do turn into that old person who just like is completely out of touch with the reality, don't give a fuck about kids, you know, like I don't want to do that.
I have similar motivation though, because my motivation is that every single time I've heard an older person defend their generation, this is obvious for boomers, but it's been really, really, really almost painful to watch Gen X do it. Every time they defend their generation, it's cringy. To borrow a phrase from Gen Z, it's totally cringe.
Totes cringe, yeah.
Yeah, I think totes is ours. I could be wrong. But it's like, you know, they're just like, well, with it. And it's just like, who cares? Oh, the 20-year-old thinks you're out of touch. You, by definition, are, or you're friends with 20-year-olds. Which do you want?
It's just like, dude, I remember once I started stand-up at 24. I couldn't have been more than a year and a half in when this happened. So I'm probably 25. I've been out of college for 3 years, right? And I get a gig hosting this big Greek week thing at the University of Tennessee, right? So I go down there, and it was a fucking nightmare. But I got paid $150 for 3 hours. 3 hours of coming on and off stage and like singing and whatnot.
Great money, man.
Not 3 straight hours. And so it was nightmarish. But I was telling everybody, I was like, dude, pretty sweet. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. You know, $150 for fucking stand-up related shit. I was over the moon. But anyway, I'm 25, and we're kind of older millennials, which means when we were 25, the kids in college, those also were millennials, right? They're 3-4 years removed 100%. From me, dude. At that thing, I was treated like a narc cop motherfucker. Like they made it so clear. They were calling me sir. They were like, clearly afraid I was gonna, like, I remember one of them, this was during the butt chugging era at UT, and one of them had a box of wine with like a funnel on it for a joke. And I literally just like pointed out, and was like, oh yeah, butt chugging, and laughed or something. And he was like, this isn't against any rules or anything. Like, this is totally cool to have, like, you know.
Because you look like an RA.
And I was like, what the fuck, man? And so all I'm saying is that shit is like immediate.
Oh yeah,
you know
it's quick.
I mean?
Like, it's quick, man.
Like you're only with them when you're literally right there with them, and you become old and uncool and shit very, very quickly, in my experience. So
yeah,
it's all just like all in the game.
Being a 30, like this is a tiny violin moment, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't fucking matter. But like, as a comedian, I've felt just in that zone for so long. Like being a dude that's in his 30s doing comedy is a weird spot, because what you just said is 100% true. And the fucking kids do not relate to you at all. And you are old and you're not fucking cool. But also, anyone older than you thinks you don't know shit, you know, and they're like, oh, wait till you have grandkids and blah, blah, blah. So like, you're just kind of, and you're on stage trying to talk, you know, and like the contention is like, hey, listen to me, I got some stuff to say. But like on both ends of the spectrum, people are going, no, you don't. We don't give a fuck. Like you either don't know shit, or you're fucking old and you really don't know shit because you don't know. So it's a weird spot. But I will say, you know, I don't really, I guess, give too much of a fuck. Like,
no,
because like you said, it is immediate. Like those college kids feel the same way about 23-year-olds as they do about me at 34. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say in the profession that we're in, it would be nice to have some clout in that world, because you will, you know, spread quicker. You know what I'm saying? The algorithm likes Gen Z and younger millennials.
No doubt about that.
And the things they like, because they're on all the time and they, you know, share it with each other and blah, blah, blah. So I had a thing I wanted to talk about that's very related to the internet talk.
Let's get into it right after this.
All right.
All right. Hit it.
So I got to bring up the war, but we don't have to get too serious. It's not necessarily political. It's just wild. One of the
Ukraine war?
Yeah, Ukraine has basically requested like that all these internet companies cut ties with Russia, and it led to some that's happened in some ways. Like Apple is trying to pull out, and I guess you can't get on the Apple App Store there now, allegedly, Netflix, etc. But they also requested that ICANN, which is the de facto governing body of the internet, even though there's not a governing body of the internet, cut off Russia, which is a wild thing to try and process. ICANN started out as a government ICANN,
like ICANN.
ICANN, I think.
Oh, okay.
It started out as some government body in America, but became a non-governmental organization. And basically, it's just responsible for registering domains. And the only real power they have is like if you're trying to do child porn, they'll pull your domain. But other than that, it's good of them. It's just a database. Other than that, it's like you own fart.com. I can't start fart.com. But they're trying to pull all Russian ICANN things, you know, as a way to like wage war. But it's bringing up this really wild kind of international debate, because a lot of people are like, if you do this, you are effectively turning Russia into North Korea as far as isolationism for its citizens. But we're doing it to them. Unlike North Korea, the dictators who run the country are doing it. And I think that's a compelling argument myself. Like war and the reasons for the war aside, I mean, we're from the South. We've got to have some empathy for people being like, look, we ain't like the people leading us. There's more to it. And I don't want to be cut off.
No, I agree 100%. I've actually had kind of a hard time processing a lot of these things, such as what you're saying, with like how often I have been like, you know, when very shortly after Georgia turned blue, they also then passed some new abortion bullshit. And everyone was like, you shouldn't even drive through Georgia if you're going to Florida. Fly. Don't even drive on their roads. Don't even give their gas stations money. Blah blah blah.
Oh yes, like, Florida, the bastion of progressive liberalness.
Yeah.
They do like abortions though.
Oh, love them. So they love them so much. But I was just like, but my whole thing was always just like, and we've I think as a group felt this. We were like, that don't like everyone from here ain't that way. That's just our dipshit fucking governor. You ain't helping nothing. In fact, you're only fucking over the good people here by doing that. And so then I've had to really look at myself in the mirror during all this Russia shit because I've been like, man, the good people of Russia don't even like Vladimir Putin. This ain't them. You know what I'm saying? So. But then again, I go, yeah, but sanctions and lifting sanctions and doing all this stuff is how you affect things on a global thing. And if you hit people in the pocket, but then I go, well, fuck, that's what they're trying to do to Georgia. And I'm saying, fuck that. So like, I don't know, man, I'm being pretty hypocritical here. So I have no idea.
I ain't for it. I think the internet's different than most economic sanctions. Go ahead, Trey.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I agree with everything both of y'all have said. I've thought about it too and feel the same way. I just feel like in this like very extreme situation, it's like they have to do, the rest of the world has to do something. And like nobody wants full blown World War III to happen. So what they're left with is economic sanctions, which will inevitably affect regular people. And that does suck for those regular people. And I do have empathy for them, but it's like, I don't know. It's just an untenable situation. I feel like you got to do something. I don't have a real good grasp on the internet part of it. I feel like if they got cut off from the rest of the internet, they'll never see anything but
Russian propaganda.
That's what I'm saying.
That Arnold Schwarzenegger message to them or whatever.
Which hit?
Yeah, it did hit. I was reading about that on Reddit and like on a Russian subreddit even where it was like, are Russian people actually seeing this? And there were a lot of purported Russians in the comments saying like, yeah, people are seeing it. I don't know if that's true or not. But my point is if they were like cut off, then nope, they definitely
because you know who else is cut off? North Korea.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. But North Korea did that to themselves.
Yeah.
For us to do it to a country, it also is going to start. This is what most of the internet commentators are pointing out. This will fracture the internet. Like Russia will have to then do their own thing. They're a huge economy. They have the money. They have the infrastructure. They'll make their own version of this, right?
Right.
Well, then what's China going to do? And then what's the EU?
I don't know.
And like as that starts,
I don't ever know. I don't know. No fucking clue.
The point is like we might be seeing the end of the global internet as we know it. Obviously, there will also always be, the internet, and there'll also always be the globe. But we might see a drastic change as sort of a byproduct of this, and that's crazy to think of culturally. Like every major event causes changes. Like we invented the refrigerator after World War II. Well, we might be ruining the internet.
I know, and I just got decent at the internet, and now it's about to, got changed the game all over.
Don't plan on getting any Russian fans.
I'm talking a little bit out of my butt with this, but I think China, especially, and maybe Russia too, already do versions of like. You can't just do any internet stuff you want over there, especially in China. You have to have a VPN, which like people get, those are accessible, but you have to have those to do a lot of.
What does that stand for? A verified private network? Is that what that is? Or
I don't know. Maybe. I know that it masks where you're getting on the internet from.
That's how you gamble and stuff.
You could be right because you're in a place where it's illegal to gamble online. Yeah. You need a VPN or like people use it for simple shit. Like I'd rather have the Australian version of Netflix because it hits harder for me. So you get a VPN that makes it look to the internet as though you are logging on from Australia. But if you're in China, you need one to make it look like you're getting onto the internet from not China because China like blocks huge chunks of the internet from their people already. And I think Russia probably does too. So like there's some like the whole North Korea thing, there's elements of that already going down in both of those places. I still don't think we should make the move of like trying to cut the entire populace off from the rest of the internet for reasons already
admittedly
stated.
Limited understanding though of this is that the difference there is you're talking about people taking measures on the web, to censor, and we're talking about being on an entirely different web, like quite literally kicking them off the web. They're like it's like I don't really know what the dark web is, but I know it's a different internet. Well, imagine now that there's going to be like potentially 5 major different internets, and so yes, China will try to censor certain websites. But imagine if they just realize wait, we could just have our own internet, period.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we going to navigate that? And we will navigate it if it happens, and the world will move on, whether in a fair way or not. It won't be fair.
It will not be fair. Yeah.
But it is going to be huge in terms of a change that I think we won't notice at first. And then like in 20 years, we'll be like, oh, wow, look what happened because of that and that. And I think it's a bad move. I think you're disconnecting the world from each other. And I think that's a bad move.
What do you think would happen if we did something like the Purge, where like all the internet for one whole year, there was no internet, and then after a year we could come back? Do you think we would? Now, obviously, economic downfall aside, because like so many businesses would be fucked over. Like we would be fucked over in a lot of ways.
I guess I'd be bartending for a year or something.
Yeah, I guess. But we're already talking about
be comedy. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, there would be. But like, do you think that after a year, the good would outweigh the bad? I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, for all the bad that the internet is, do you think the good outweighs the bad on the internet?
I think you're asking I think that at the base of the soul of that question is, are humans good or bad?
Yeah, right.
Today, I'll say it's a wash.
I don't know, man.
Yesterday it might have been bad. Tomorrow it might be good. I think the soul of that question is you're asking about humans, because the internet is a tool that humans use. There's a lot of horrific things. I think it's been bad for us in a way that I can't counter, that it's more addictive than other things we've done. So it keeps us locked in. I would say net good. If we did it for a year, I think it would be a net good. But there would be some stories that come out where we're like, man, if we'd have been able to get this out and let people know, all them children might not have died and been raped first.
Yeah, I mean, fair, because like, a lot of people, you hear the older generations talk about like, oh yeah, the internet's ruined the world. See, back in my day, you didn't have all this, blah, blah, blah. And I've always been like, that's so stupid, because yes, you did. It's just nobody saw it. Like, they're like, oh yeah, there wasn't all this police brutality. Yes, motherfucker, there was. Nobody had a cell phone camera to film that shit. So like in that way, it's
police weren't beating black men in the 50s. Well,
yeah,
buddy. Then we invented cameras, and suddenly
I'm telling you, there's people that literally spin themselves into that logic somehow. But like, I don't know, man. Like, it's so great that, if we ever need to know a thing, we can just click on the internet and know it. But then at the same time, there's 10 other articles saying the complete opposite things and some Alex Jones shit. So like, I don't fucking know, man. Like, it's like Trey, you were just talking about being on a Russian subreddit. How gnarly does that shit get?
I literally only found it by looking specifically for that video, wondering if like that had happened. I didn't poke around on there. So maybe I ought to go back and check it out. But I think it's mostly, the internet, we've talked about it a bunch off mic, especially the internet's like easily the most great and terrible thing, of the past, maybe in all of human history, for all I know.
Yeah,
but
it's hard to argue.
But it's, I think it's, I don't know, unstoppable at the very least. Like, we just got to try to do our best with it, basically. I mean, I'd like to think it's more good than bad, but I mean, I know you can make the argument in either direction very easily with limited research. Wouldn't take long to back up either of those positions. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a million different reasons on both sides, I suppose. But yeah, the internet, wild.
Without thinking enough about it, without really thinking about the consequences, my gut reaction is I would vote yes for a 1-year purge. Like, I'm curious as much as anything else, realizing that my curiosity might lead to the downfall of certain businesses and stuff. But like, maybe we give them time to prepare. I don't know. This is such an impossible hypothetical, but I want to know what would happen if we didn't have internet for a year. I very much want to know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying that as someone who, like, for at least the past 3 years has definitely made the majority of my money exclusively on the internet. It'd be interesting to see, where we all just fucking came back after a year like, God fucking damn, I read a lot of books.
Yeah. Or, not.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out how to farm, just 80 pounds lighter.
Yeah, right.
Must have Uber Eats. Just start throwing bricks out into the street. Please bring me pizza. We'll give money.
Did I tell y'all speaking of eating, did I tell y'all I was accidentally a pescatarian for a whole month? I didn't even realize I did it.
Like lately?
Yeah, like a month or two ago, I didn't realize that I'd done it, but I had eaten every meal that I had eaten that had protein was just straight up fish. But I didn't like decide to do that. I just, you know how I just get on like binges, and literally every like during the week I ate salmon twice a day, 5 days a week, and then on the weekends, what?
You just go. I just got reminded of something. Go ahead.
Well, that was it. Like I just like I think that if I was ever like I'm gonna do pescatarian, anytime I want to put limits on myself, I fucking can't, because it's like someone's trying to hold me down, even though that them is me. But like I totally like for an entire month was pescatarian and was like, oh yeah, I could totally fucking do that. It was nice. Felt really good.
Well, you do go on binges. You couldn't do it if you decided to do it though.
No,
you probably could. But speaking of your binges. I upload Bubba Shot the Podcast. Listen to Bubba Shot the Podcast everywhere you find WellRED, including and not limited to Trey Crowder's YouTube page. Because I upload Bubba Shot the Podcast on your YouTube, Trey, I keep your YouTube in one of my browsers. I think it's not Chrome, Safari, because I use Chrome. So that way I'm not ever accidentally on your YouTube doing the wrong thing, right? But I was on there. I knew I was on yours, about to upload, and there was somebody commented while I was on there, so it like popped up. Mm-hmm. So I clicked on the comments.
I would not advise that.
Well, I just happened to see some comments of, I think, WellRED. I don't think it was the Bubba, but we were informed, Trey, that if you and I really cared about Corey's drinking, that we would not bring it up so much on the podcast and his habits to make light of it and turn it into fodder. That you and I have been doing that. So
yeah, it checks out.
I thought that was so fucking hilarious.
I
really cared about him.
Corey's been saying for years that all his problems are my fault. So that checks
out.
I
was about to defend you, but
one of them.
I was about to start defending you, but now I don't want to.
Yeah.
You've done this. That's been the calling, the carrying.
Proud liberal woman _7. She's been turned. I don't know. That's not the
I feel like if that was the recent episode, I feel like we were all just talking about our own drinking habits.
Yeah,
it didn't get brought up as specifically Corey. And for a while there, Corey was like going on a journey that we were checking in on.
Yeah,
very much with his, I
agree.
Whatever the word is. Well, permission or whatever. Like he was
consent.
Y'all have never done anything.
Learn the word, man.
Y'all have never done anything wrong. And here's why: is because I'm not a fucking alcoholic. There's a lot of people who, not most, I won't say most people, but
what she's saying. That you know what that
there's
is the subtext.
There's a lot of people who think.
Also, I've decided it's a woman. No clue.
But it's a woman. So there are a lot of people I've found, and it's not most people, but there are the vocal minority at least, who if you ever say anything such as, yeah, I think I'm going to cut down on boozing for a little bit, maybe go a month sober or something like that, they immediately, instead of thinking, oh, this person's just trying to lose a little bit of weight or do some better stuff for their mental health, they go straight to, this person has been shooting up in a ditch and he's really got an issue here. And like, that's not at all the case. I do like to booze, and it is a little harder for us to like slip back into old habits on the road, but it's not like I'm having to turn my chip back into fucking somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I know that you are right, obviously, because I'm here for all of it too, but I understand people feeling that we are in the doth protest too much category where all this is concerned, because we do talk about it a lot.
Well, and it's a thing, you know. We talk about stuff that are things, and that's a thing.
I'm with you,
but
like I'm saying, I do kind of get it.
I do too. But I'm saying,
get them thinking that he has a problem, or you kind of get them thinking that you and I are the catalyst of that problem.
No, not that part. I just meant like anyone who thinks that any of us or all of us might have a problem. I kind of understand, because we do bring it up a lot.
We have drinking problems. I don't know if it's alcoholism, but we have drinking problems.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a fact.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying, like, you can be someone who is like, oh man, sometimes I go too hard, but not be a fucking, alcoholic or drug addict or none of that stuff or whatever. But like my buddy Robbie over at UncleBod.com got an email from a lady who listens to our podcast and was begging him to intervene on my behalf, because she's like, I know that Corey has talked about, stopping drinking and stuff like that. But he also talks about like taking gummies and stuff. And like, I'm not sure if he knows this, but like, that's a gateway. And like, he's going to be high and he's going to start doing drugs again. He's going to start and all Robbie said to her was, ma'am, it's not good for, I'm not talking about my friend's personal life with you right now. But then I was like, that's fucking crazy that like, she's literally sitting there going like, he's eating gummies. He's going to go straight back to what? Fucking heroin. You know what I'm saying? Like we just, it's so, when you go on the road, we've talked about it a million times. When we're not on the road, it's the easiest thing in the world not to drink. So it's not like when we go back on the road, we don't just turn into alcoholics. It's just that the road is conducive to getting a little fucked up with your buddies and you can get out of hand. But like none of us have true issues with alcohol. Thank God.
I haven't had a drink since our last shows in Knoxville, like going on 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. And I haven't thought about it either. Although now, I may go buy, I'm going to go buy a 6-pack after this. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I triggered you. I get it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's not. That's all very true for me. The road is a completely different story. When I'm not on it, I don't have any issues not drinking at all. And as I've said before, a lot of times nowadays when I do drink, even on the road or whatever, I'm like, it kind of don't even hit for me,
right?
But I'll still do it, But whatever. What?
I do it because I need to.
I don't enjoy it, but I still do it.
No, it's like a force of a habit thing.
I know.
A bad habit I have.
It just makes it just makes everything easier. But but you got to admit, and Drew would admit this too. Like we do not drink on the road the same as we fucking used to.
No,
like pre-pandemic, like even
close.
Even if we do get a little bit out of hand, it's like, wow, this was like a very isolated incident. Whereas like used to, bro, I mean, when we first started the tour,
we thought we were fucking rock stars. It's like our dreams have come true.
Yeah.
We were just, that's what you do. We're fucking acting like an 80s hair metal band or some shit.
Yeah.
So, you'll have that.
You will have that. But now, living one day, I'm saying living one day like we used to live 2 weeks consecutively it blows my absolute fucking mind. I go, how on earth? And the easiest answer for that is, well, when you started the tour, you were 28 years old and now you're 34. And those particular 6 years, like 6 years doesn't always matter much. I guess like the difference between, I don't know, 46 and 53 probably isn't the same as the difference between 28 and 34. That's that's a wild explorative chunk of your life when you go from I can still hang to like, buddy, I slept wrong last night. And because of that, I can't go to lunch with you today.
Well, I mentioned it earlier, but on that note, I like the other day, my foot, I've got plantar fasciitis now. It seems
foot's a fascist.
Yeah. I haven't been to the doctor, of course. I don't fuck with all that, but like based on the internet, this is like, it's very definitely the thing that I have. It fits it to a T, and it's a pretty common ailment, but mostly in older people or runners, which I'm not, or the overweight. So, hey, lost 50 pounds, but still fat enough to have a broke ass foot that don't hit no more. And it's like one of those deals like that old Louis bit about how like you go to the doctor, oh, my ankle don't work. What do I do? He's like, well, you just like sort of stretch it. How long do I got to do that? Forever. That's just a thing you do now.
Yeah.
It's like that type of thing with this. It's just going to be there. Now, the first like 36 hours, I was like, I'm going to have a fucking hover round. I'm going to be one of those, I'm going to be one of those comics that sits on a stool the whole time. So I was like, I can't walk around I can't put fucking weight on my foot. It hurts.
Yeah.
But it's, after the first like 36 hours, for whatever reason, it's lessened a lot. Now it's just kind of a minor annoyance. I feel like it's going to be one of those on and off type things like flare-ups or whatever, probably, which don't hit, but it could have been worse. But either way, it's like, that's some getting older shit right there.
I've told you this, I think only privately. So now I'm gonna tell you publicly so that we can go through it in front of people. But I have that if you try to eat things that don't cause inflammation, if you figure out what those things are for you, it helps immensely. Like immensely.
He loves inflammatory foods.
Because when I eat inflammatory foods, it flares me up real bad. Like my foot hurts.
Yeah, that ain't it.
No, try something different.
I'm just gonna keep rubbing this frozen water bottle on the bottom of my foot. Roll with
That'll
that.
hit too.
I will get a hover round before I give up hamburgers.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of doctors, I gotta go get cancer dug out tomorrow, and I gotta be there all day and awake.
It looks better on your face. Is that because of the first procedure thing?
Yeah, because it healed is why.
Okay, right.
Like what you saw on my face was probably the scar from the first procedure, not really the cancer.
Right.
But that's like, I want to be knocked out, mostly because of the time. Dude, I didn't think it's gonna hurt. It's just like I don't want to sit there
pulling
all day.
it out of your face, and they're not gonna knock you out.
They just lidocaine it because they don't go very deep.
We'll see. Apparently, the surgery I had on my eyes, which didn't take, of course, that I'll probably have to have again. He told me, he was like, we don't have to put you under for this if you think you could take it. And I was like, you're going to cut into my eye, though. And he was like, yeah, but you won't feel it. It'll, whatever. And I told him, I was like, all right, okay, I guess I can handle that. But then they just knocked me out anyway, which I was grateful for. But I acquiesced to not being unconscious, but they still just did it anyway. And I'm glad, because I was like, I don't know if I can sit there with someone fucking operating on my eyeball while I'm awake, all fucking clockwork oranged out with a laser digging in there or whatever the fuck. Like, I'll freak the fuck out if they try to do that. And it's not your eye, but it is your face. And I mean, dude, that don't hit.
I believe in
that. Did you ask them, like, can you please just not me?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, that's like, it's a whole different thing. No, the surgery, it's like a policy thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
they got a whole department
because even if even if you're healthy, there's always a chance that when you go under anesthesia, something could happen and you don't wake up.
I bet somebody called out that day, Trey, for you, and then they just showed up and they were like, all right, knock him out. You're here.
When I've ever heard, like, there's a chance you won't wake up for this, that's a feature, not a bug. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't know. I won't know. Like Kenny Rogers said it the best that you can hope for is to die in your sleep. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't have to be awake.
Sam Quinn.
Do what? He may have said it too.
Guy I like who said it, but definitely later than
everybody feels. Yeah, what's that song called?
Is it Airplane?
Airplane.
Aeroplane.
Yes, it's in that song. I didn't realize that was an homage or he lifted it or whatever either. Anyway, doesn't matter. That song hits. Go ahead.
To me, not waking up from anesthesia is everybody else's problem, not mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just seems like the best way to go. And I would definitely always take that risk if it meant that I didn't have to be awake for X number of hours getting my fucking face dug in.
That's what I'm worried about. Is they're like, it could take an hour. It could take 8.
Jesus, dude. Can you listen to a podcast?
You to lay there for 8 hours?
What they do is they shave a layer of skin off, right? Dig the cancer out, go test it. Then they do it again, go test it. When they get a negative test, they've gotten it all. Right?
Right. So they got to keep going.
That's crazy that's wild, man.
And I believe him that it won't hurt because it didn't. He put lidocaine in it when he cut it for the biopsy.
It ain't the pain. I mean, you take it for granted that there won't be pain. It's not the pain that's fucked up about that situation. It's everything else about it.
Yeah.
Like,
without my phone, without a book, without a podcast, like
at the dentist,
I bet I'll want the internet not to go away for a year after fucking tomorrow because I'll be like, I need it to get through life.
Yeah, because like when I go to the dentist, like they numb your mouth or whatever. It's not the fucking pain. It's the sound. It's the having to sit there and do that shit. And then they'll be asking you questions, but if you answer, you're an asshole because you're not supposed to be talking.
Your own spit.
Yeah,
they do the suction, but you need to swallow. You fucking physically need to swallow. Your brain is going to set itself on fire.
Let's take a quick break. One more. Come right back. Yeah, sorry to get all fucking weird and mind-fucky and high person philosophical. This is the type of shit I can't think about when I get high anymore. Corey was talking about, you might not wake up or whatever. I know I've talked about before on here, but it's been a long time. That whole idea with, and y'all have heard me bring this up while high a bunch. But
I love it.
The whole idea with teleportation, where it's like, is that really you that comes out the other side, or is it just like a copy of you that has all your memories? So it has no way of knowing it isn't actually you. It's going to go, through every other moment of its life, believing that it was you because it woke up with all of your memories. Meanwhile, you were vaporized.
You were prestiged.
Prestige. You were wiped out of existence on this side of the teleportation machine and never came back. But no one has any way of knowing that. That shit bugs me the fuck out. But some people take it a step further and say, like, we don't understand consciousness at all. Anesthesiology, there are practices that they know work with putting people under, but they don't. None of them understand how it really works to this day. They just know that it works. So there's some people that postulate, maybe also stoners or scientists or both, I don't know, that like when you get your consciousness like obliterated basically for a procedure like that, right, that it's the same type of thing, that like you get brought back online or whatever, but it's not, that the first iteration of you didn't come back, but this new iteration has all the same cells and data and memories and stuff, so that you have no way of knowing, but that the you that laid down there actually never did open their eyes again. And this is like a new version 2.0 of your consciousness or whatever, when we manipulate it, in that way. Not saying I believe that. I'm saying when I get high and start thinking about that stuff, it gets wild up here.
Do those same people have any connected theories as it relates to drugs that will alter your consciousness so bad that you feel like you went offline, whether it's DMT or a high dose of mushrooms?
Enough Xanax?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know that part. Wouldn't surprise me, but I'm not
because
sure.
Because if your theory is that shutting this consciousness down to the point that you won't wake up while we cut you is effectively killing that consciousness and then bringing it back online later and it's a different one.
Right.
If that's something you believe, then you've got to believe some wild shit about I went and spoke to my 7-year-old self and he told me he forgave me. Like that's got to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like, I feel like the teleportation version of it makes complete sense to me for whatever reason. And then it's just like, this is people taking it one step further. Like, well, if you think about it, right. And then that again, really only when I'm high am I like, damn, if you think about it.
Yeah. Here's my difference though. With the teleportation, correct me if I'm wrong, the essential theory is the way that would work if it did is that you would be deatomized and then reatomized in a different part of space. And the reatomization process would create the same atoms in your brain that have those memories. But since you were dissolved over here, you're dead.
Your soul is gone, I guess, as it were.
And then we are reatomizing you over here, and that would bring that consciousness back. It's new, but it feels old because of the memories. But what all they're doing with surgery is waiting for the anesthesia to wear off, and then you come back online by yourself. So to me, the difference is like you didn't obliterate the consciousness because it came back on its own. Time passed. I don't
really believe it again, unless unless I take too much of a gummy or whatever. Because I agree with you, it feels different to me too. It's just one of those things that's kind of wild to think about. I've also seen people say that even with the teleportation version of it, there's a ship of Theseus thing going on there, because you do get deatomized and then reatomized, and people point out it's like you know how many different like collections of atoms and cells and shit you have been over the course of your life. Like it's not like you're born and you go through life with all those same atoms. You've been through millions of iterations of your physical self that hasn't affected that at all. So like, why would this necessarily be any different? Which I feel like, you still say it's like, it feels pretty different to me.
Well, it's kind of like
natural progress. You're doing that to yourself, but still.
The thing I think about when high, on the other side of that, there are some scientists and physicists and weird spiritual people who they don't really know where consciousness lies.
No, they don't.
It is a relationship between those atoms you're talking about, which is why you can replace them. So some people are like, well, maybe it does go on forever. So like maybe you can't obliterate consciousness, period.
I don't like that either.
It exists kind of outside of the physical realm. But then you think, where the fuck? How did it start? That's a wild thing to think of.
Yeah, it's
glad
sort
I'm
of
not
like
high right now.
Yeah, it's like, is modern day Skinnerd still Skinnerd? You know what I'm saying? Because they've gone through so many changes. How many original members do you have to have? I don't know.
That's
I
exactly
do like to
if
think.
you blew Skinner's fourth drummer, did you blow Skinnerd?
Exactly. I like to think that there's the version of me before my spinal surgery is dead and gone and at peace. That kind of hits for me. He didn't want to be alive. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. My first surgery was
You're going to be
8.
not hitting for these commenters, Joe.
My first surgery.
They're already worried about you, and you know this. And here you come with this shit. You're going to upset
I said
people.
that guy didn't want to be. This present day Corey is great.
It's so funny too.
Just said it would hit for me to never wake up. Like 8 minutes ago.
But I think, dude, I think most people agree with me on that.
Extra funny about that is this is how the other day on the episode where Trey talked about how he had a physical ailment that will never go away, and Drew talked about having cancer. Poor Corey said he was sad sometimes, and I can't stop thinking about it.
They worry about you,
I'm
Joe.
certain that if you mind the comments, which again, I would not suggest doing, there are plenty of people concerned about your cancer and maybe Trey's foot.
Probably not my foot.
Probably
No, but definitely Drew's cancer.
Yeah.
No, my cancer is too. I'm working on a joke about it, man. It's too survivable.
Yeah, you got the.
When the doctor says this is the best cancer you could get, I reply in my head, only if you want to live.
Yeah, right.
But some people want attention, and I'm not going to get any of that. I can tell.
No, hell no.
But I don't want attention. Please leave me alone.
No, I was about to say,
if you're listening right now and you don't DM me, because people are going to try to be sweet and they're going to be like, my mom had cancer. Just tell me a horrible story.
Yeah.
It's either going to scare me or make me feel sad.
I think I would feel like, especially with certain people, that I needed to say something, obviously with your like close friends and family and whatnot. But I think I wouldn't even want people to know about it. I'm pretty sure because of what you're talking about right now. Like,
that might have been a mistake. I think at the time I thought that I was going to have to like cancel a bunch of stuff. So, because I was like, we were on the podcast, I just found out, and it was like, hey, I got this weird cancer thing, and I think I'm going to have to go to surgery soon. And then it's like, it turns out it's just like, we'll work in on a Tuesday. You just come on out. It's no big deal. You know what I mean? But you know what? If like, I don't mind if people are like, good luck or we love you or whatever. I just don't want to like have to like have the cancer talk. Like, do you know what I mean? I guess I'm just not ready to accept that I'm a cancer person.
Sure.
Jesus.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you at all. I would definitely feel the same way. I would not. It would be like, it's coming from a good place. So you appreciate it, but you don't want to have to do that all the time. You don't want to get into it all the time.
I was about to say, you don't want to have to talk about that shit all the fucking time. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what I want. I want to not have cancer. Anyway.
Hey.
Yeah.
So I had a question. I saw this thing. This is very stupid, but I saw this thing going around the internet the other day, and me and my wife started having kind of argument on it, and I wanted to see where y'all fell on this. So pizza,
yes,
pizza, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, nachos.
Yes.
You got to get rid of one of them for the rest of your life.
Hot dogs.
Yeah,
not even close.
I think so too.
Close.
And hot dogs super hit for me. Just
right.
Everybody knows.
I mean, those are the big four. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely out of those. It's hot dogs.
Okay, then let's go.
Nachos, is a deconstructed hot dog that hits more.
So
if you include in that like every type of sausage, I'm probably gonna have to get rid of my beloved nachos. I think.
Yeah. Okay. So now
sausage is there's too efficacious, too versatile, hits too hard.
Meaning you can't have sausage with breakfast, or you just can't eat a hot dog style.
No. Well, I meant
it's
like
not
if you expand that to include all sausage in all forms.
Yeah. Right. Nachos got to go.
Sausage
because with nachos you could just have a taco.
You're getting rid of.
Right.
A nice hot dog.
Yeah,
sure.
I love hot dogs.
And I love a good hot dog, but I'd rather have hitting nachos than a hitting hot dog.
All right, now we're in the second round.
Dude, honestly, hamburgers are third for me. Nachos.
Word. Okay, so all right, so we go hamburgers, pizza, nachos. You're tossing hamburgers?
Because I like steak. It's so different. I know that it's so different, but I feel like if I needed a burger, I could get a steak. I ain't getting rid of pizza. I just can't.
You can't. No, pizza's number one.
I ate a whole pizza yesterday.
Pizza's as much. I mean, it's definitely close between burgers and pizza. But like you said, I could be like, well, I'll just go get a steak or whatever. pizza is probably the ultimate, because of all of those things that I just named, of everything that I just named. Pizza is the only one that if it's only the 20th best pizza you've ever had in your life, it's still going to be pretty passable and great. A shitty hamburger sucks. A shitty hamburger sucks. A shitty pizza is still like, well, you know, I'm drunk, whatever. But like,
can we pause right here and just talk briefly about tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese with ketchup or barbecue sauce, nachos, salsa, and melted cheese. The tomato sauce world mixed with cheese, it's the most undeniable combination in my opinion.
Yeah, we ain't got to get into all this, but we've had this, you know, not debate, but this been brought up over the years in our relationship. But you can utterly miss me with that ketchup on a cheeseburger shit.
I know that, but what about barbecue sauce or some kind of sauce? I'm just saying
barbecue sauce is fine. I mostly just want mayonnaise, maybe some Dijon mustard, you know, but yeah.
Of the three, if you have 3 sauces on a hamburger, if you got ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, and I've got to get rid of one, even though I love ketchup, I would say, well, I definitely need the mayonnaise and the mustard more than I need the ketchup.
Yeah, it's one of the few things that I'm like actually picky about, unless I'm absolutely starving. If I get a burger from a fast food place or something and they accidentally put, because I always ask for no ketchup, if they put ketchup on it, it's one of the few times where like I actually won't eat it unless I'm like starving and can't get something else. I'll either go.
You're in good company with that, though, for the record.
No, I know a lot of, and I don't want to be I'm not a fucking burger snob.
No, I know you're not.
I'm actually like very simplistic when it comes to burgers, so I'm not into those fucking craft burger places. But a lot of those places literally won't allow you to put ketchup on your burger, which is stupid.
That's
by the way.
Yeah, that's
I'm not for that. I'm just using it as evidence that
you're not for pretense for no reason.
There's a lot of people, pretense, exactly, because it is pretentious, but it's just. I'm just saying there's a lot of people who feel the same way about the ketchup on the burger thing. Also, I like American cheese on a burger.
Yeah, it melts better.
Get the melt hits harder.
This is my fault. I don't think we got Corey. Corey, which of the 3 would you get rid of? We narrowed it down. Trey said nachos, and I said burgers.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely nachos.
I was going to say nachos. I didn't think I had, but yes.
100%. 100% nachos. And then now we're top 2 where it's like burgers and pizza, and like, I got to say pizza, but only because, like I said, I can get other variations of meat and it'd be fine. But that's hard, though, because, man, you know, a good fucking cheeseburger, like when it's real, especially when I make the motherfucker, almost nothing hits the spot better. And I can make a burger way easier than I can make a whole pizza. But, like, pizza is just one of those things that's been there for me, you know, my whole life. It's you order 3 of them and you got a party. It's way easier to do that than to make a bunch of hamburgers for a bunch of motherfuckers. Like, pizza is also like the most portable food. Like, I can eat a slice of pizza while driving down. I can eat a burger while going down the road too, but I'm probably going to get some shit on me. But a pizza, just boom. So yeah, but to me,
hits in basically every iteration, meaning like cold pizza hits.
Awesome.
It sits out for a while, not long enough to get dangerous, but it sits out for a while. That version of it still hits.
When it gets congealed,
it hits. Even if you reheat it cheaply in the microwave, that hits well enough. If you do it the right way in a fucking skillet or air fryer,
hits harder.
It hits even harder.
It's also easy to alter.
It never doesn't hit. Yeah, you can doctor.
You get a mediocre pizza. You spend $7 in a little bit of time, you can make it flames.
Dude, if you get, like, if somebody's got one of those like Totino's party pizzas and that's all that's going on, but you've got like a bottle of, you know, decent hot sauce, glug. I mean, you're fucking in business. Maybe you got a little bit extra Parmesan at the house. You just grate that some bitch on there.
Somewhat doctored up Totino's party pizzas were probably my #1 jam in college.
Me too.
Yeah, like
I didn't go to college, but
they were $1 a piece at the time. I think they're a little more now. Fucking thanks, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, piece of shit.
They were like $1 a piece at the time, and we kept a fucking gang of them. And yeah, you know, hot sauce or fucking cheese, whatever kind of cheese you had to throw on it, you know, extra pepperonis if we could afford it, just shit like that, make them hit.
Spread a little butter on the outside of the crust.
I never tried that.
You guys are fucking me up on nachos, though, man. Fucking perfect chorizo.
I love nachos.
Cheese, sour cream, guacamole that's fresh. Like,
I hope I never have to actually do this in real life. That would be a fucking nightmare.
It's just easy to replace a burger, in my opinion, is all I'm saying. You get a nice steak, whatever, like a salad with it. You're basically.
I could go there with nachos though too, where I can say, just give me all that on a taco. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but
yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's another thing. Again, bad nachos are horrible. The two actually of the. We put hot dog last, but actually a hot dog kind of falls in that category too, because a bad hot dog is still like, sometimes it can go so far bad that it hits really hard, like them cheap red weenies. You know what I mean? Sometimes them motherfuckers just like hit the spot. Them ballpark hot dogs are cheaper than hell, but like, yeah, I'm in. But like bad nachos, when like they're too much mush, or like or God forbid not enough mush. I'd rather have too much mush than not enough mush. But like hot dog and pizza, man, like for the most part, if you fuck them up, you really had to put some effort into fucking that up.
But hot dog has no ceiling for me. Like the best hot dog I ever had is a pretty good set of nachos.
Fair.
All right. Well, that hit, Joe. I'm glad we did that. Let's get out of here because I'm hungry now.
Yeah, I am too. Hey, go to WellREDComedy.com and grab tickets to our shows April 1st and 2nd. We're going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas, and then April 3rd, we're going to be in Bentonville, and then April 14th through the 16th, we're going to be in Portland, and April 21st through the 23rd, we're going to be in Louisville, so just go to WellRED comedy.com for tickets to those shows. Also, check out patreon.com/Trey Crowder. Check out Into The Abiscuit with Drew Dollars and DJ Lewis. You can go to CoreyWritesForYou.com and find my shenanigans. And also, hey, if you haven't, please go subscribe to the new podcast Putting On Airs. It comes out April 1st. It's going to be a big time. And also, thank you all for listening to the WellRED Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you. God bless you. Good night and skew.